Hi, I'm Michael Victor, landscape architect and arborist, speaking for MVR Landscape Garden on deer-resistant plants. Because deer are so prevalent in the New York metropolitan region and deer browse is such a problem for garden plants, I'm developing this series to look at low, understory plants, valuable in landscape design that are resistant to deer browse. The images that you'll see are largely from coastal communities, like you see back here, because the deer population is so great in them. But these communities are largely sand-based, and for most plants, if they can take the sandy conditions and they can take the loamy, more rich conditions of inland areas. So the series will also be relevant throughout the metropolitan region as well as along the whole northeastern seaboard.
The purpose of this series is to show northeast plants resistant to deer browse in seaside locations, then relate them to plants that are resistant in locations 50 miles inland. The series will identify resistance across the New York City region, then across the Northeast Corridor, and at times, nationally. After the upcoming preview of the whole series, this introductory episode gives viewers helpful information about Fire Island and Upper Westchester County as the two focus areas of the series. The following video clips show a sampling of plants by category from each episode. The first is foliage accent plants, which highlights plants that have red, blue, yellow, and white foliage. They add color variety and flair to any outdoor space and are especially valuable because they provide means for inventive color compositions in accessible areas. Second is flowering annuals and perennials. By comparison, there are considerably more perennial choices than annuals. Aromatic plants as deterrents will be discussed, as will poisonous plants like the show-stopping foxgloves. Ferns and groundcovers will show the easiest ferns to establish and are widely available. It will also reveal sturdy groundcovers beyond Pachysandra that will hold up in shade and against weeds. The bamboo episode will review invasiveness and planting bans and document the harsh dieback of stands by Sandy. The next covers grasses and sedges. As most are resistant, they are common in public areas. Episode will discuss invasiveness and distinguish tall grass species from the smaller ones. Deciduous shrubs will feature valuable seaside shrubs, and then garden shrubs that have showy summer flowers. Some are semi-hardy throughout the region. Evergreen shrubs are grouped into needleleaf and broadleaf categories. Junipers and Spruces are needleleaf, while Andromeda and Boxwood are broadleaf. Boxwood resistance is well known, and thus Boxwoods are staples in resistant plantings. At this point, I'll point out who should benefit most from this series. Since the videos capture mostly residential landscapes, residential property owners should find the series most helpful for plant selections. Along with them, landscape designers and contractors should also. Landscape architects will find the series valuable for a range of projects where deer are present. For the private sector, corporate properties will benefit. For public work, bridge, highway, and mass transit projects will benefit. Comments are welcome from property owners, landscape professionals, and all viewers. Let's look at the two focus areas and the deer in each. First, Fire Island. Lying 4 miles from Long Island, Fire Island is 32 miles in length. To put things in perspective, the seasonal communities occupy just 7 miles of beachfront, so more than 3/4 of the island is made up of parkland and wilderness areas. There is no land bridge to the mainland, so deer do not migrate to or from it. In native island habitats, deer eat dune and coastal forest plants. They have no natural predators on Fire Island, no cars to collide with, and public hunting is not allowed. But the numbers are kept in check by the National Park Rangers. Since the 1990s, the population has been estimated to be between 300 and 500, high enough for many property owners on the island. The diverse communities of Fire Island are in a 12-mile zone in the western half of the island. Interspersed are a number of natural, unbuilt sections. The videos focus on locations near the Sunken Forest Preserve, which lies roughly in the middle of the zone. Island width there is just 1,300 feet, or just 1/4 mile. Width constricts even further in some communities. Because of the high number of deer and the constricted widths of the island, deer are not only prevalent, but residents consider them commonplace. They are also considered as fearless and brazen about eating garden plants. For unfenced areas, residents know all too well to install deer-resistant plants. Deer prevalence, combined with a lot of deer-savvy gardeners, make Fire Island communities exceptional places to study and verify landscape plant deer resistance. Additional reasons are high density of houses with individualized gardens, frequent deer fencing, but enthusiasm to plant beyond it to enhance property entries and public boardwalks. These abundant plantings allow ready confirmation of what deer routinely don't eat. Further, being able to observe gardens close up by foot from the boardwalks make plant identification easier. Finally, because cars are not allowed on the boardwalks, they don't disturb observation or video capture. Now let's contrast the island with Upper Westchester County, the second of our two focus areas. While deer are a problem inland, their habitats and territorial range are quite different. Residential and commercial properties often border on vast hardwood beech maple forest, so deer have far greater area to roam. Because property sizes are larger, not only are houses spread further apart, but deer fencing isn't as easy. Unlike for Fire Island, there is no federal oversight of the deer population. Even though natural predators are coming back, hunters mainly help reduce deer numbers. They are not permitted to use firearms, however, just bow and arrow, and hunters are few. As a result, throughout the tri-state region, as in Fire Island, deer are just a way of life. Now back to Fire Island to clarify the range of unique growing conditions on it. Contrary to what I myself as a plantsman once assumed, the island is more than just a long sandbar. True, there are some really hostile conditions, the most restrictive being immediately along the ocean. Along it, the Atlantic and strong winds deposit enough sand over time to form primary dunes. Dune grasses dominate on them. On the backside of the dune, conditions improve a little to allow a few more plants to grow. Natural plant diversity increases considerably the more one goes inland. Shrub thickets and intermittent woodlands form on secondary dunes, which create protected conditions for maritime forests to occur and develop. The secondary dunes permit thick canopy cover and varying sunlight exposures. The woodland and forests generate leaf litter to increase moisture and nutrients significantly for the sandy soil, which help non-native garden plants to establish. Ultimately, the sandy soil proves to be restricted for garden plants that require the more loamy soils found on the mainland and in Westchester County. Soils, then, are a major difference that I will be highlighting in the series. The island varies in width, so that only where it is wide enough do forested areas develop. This explains why some communities have a more open feeling and others have noticeably more shade-providing canopy trees. The final distinction between our two areas is plant hardiness zone, which reflects how cold it gets in each location. Upper Westchester, colder in winter, is in Zone 6B, whereas Fire Island is in the warmer Zone 7B. This difference affects shrub and perennial selections the most. Because series focus is on Zone 7B, series plants are pertinent for suburban areas south in the mid-Atlantic states of Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. Okay, the first episode category is accent foliage plants, which really liven up any garden space. We'll see you then. Thank you for listening.